So I was raised by a single parent. My mother never got welfare, nor did she get child support from my dad. And my mother's saying was, it's what you do with what you have that makes you what you are.
Thanks for listening to Beep I Wish I Knew in My 20s. The podcast is hosted, no, not the podcast. This is my podcast. Today's guest is Monica Pearson. She is the first woman and first minority to anchor the daily evening news in Atlanta, Georgia, where she worked for 37 years. Yes, 37 years at the leading station, WSB-TV. By the way, if I was to tell all the firsts, there'd be no podcast time left, Monica. 30 Emmys, you're inducted into the National Association of Black Journalists Hall of Fame. You host Monica Pearson One-on-One, a monthly personality interview program for Gray Media Group. And here's the thing that I love. You call yourself a woman in rewirement, making the best of what others call retirement. Don't sound like you retired at all. I mean, you hardly find time to hang out with me.
Debra,
what's this rewirement?
The rewirement is doing what I want to do rather than doing what I have to do. I can say no now. And it's amazing how when you've been the first at so many things, people will use that to try to get you to extend yourself. So you know how I finally stopped it? I said, first I'll go, now what part of NO don't you understand? Smile. And then if they keep on, I use this one and it shuts it down. If I drop dead tomorrow, who would you get?
You are so good. By the way, I love that sentence. No is a complete sentence. N-O. What part was it that you didn't get? The N or the O? What is it?
Yeah. So to me, it's the only way to stop it is to finally say, if I drop dead tomorrow, who would you get? Because the point is, they would get somebody else if I was not available. And when you say that, the first reaction is, and then it's like, oh, okay. And then we move on. I have learned to protect myself because if I don't, you know what happens when you do too much? They don't talk about how many things you've done. What they talk about is, ooh, she wasn't really as good as I remembered her being, or, ooh, she seemed a little tired. So in order to protect myself, I've learned to say no.
And you have to. This is a lesson for everyone listening. You have to say no sometimes. By the way, even just because you need time for yourself, you got to put yourself first. And also, if you say no every once in a while, when you do say yes, people will appreciate it more.
Oh, absolutely.
Saying yes to everything. You're an important commodity.
Well, you know, people talk all the time about their brand, and I didn't know what that meant. But I do know that I have to protect who I am, and that if I'm too many places, too many times, then I'm not as precious as I was before.
I think I'm going to issue a challenge to everyone listening to this podcast. Say no to somebody this week. Say no to something this week.
And that includes family. You have to know how even to tell them no. Your children will pull on you. Your husband or your significant other will pull on you. And you have to be able to say to them, you know, I'd like to help you out, but I'm really tired today and I can't do it. How would you figure this out if I wasn't here? Okay. And you've got to learn to set priorities and make yourself a priority. I mean, my thing every week, every Monday, I have a body massage for 2 hours. Every Monday. I don't if I don't do it in the morning, I do it in the afternoon. But every Monday, that's my treat to myself. And every 3 weeks, I get my nails and my lashes done. That's the treat to myself. And it's an appointment, just like a business appointment. Again, it helps me to be revived and to have energy to move on. And that's something I did not know in my 20s. Because in my 20s, it was like, oh, I got to make it. I got to make it. I got to work. I got to do this. And I was wearing myself out. And I remember my mother saying to me, she called me Monty. She said, Monty, you can't be all things to all people. So you have to learn where to put the emphasis. You can't feel guilty, because that's the other thing I find most women will do. They'll say no. And then it's like, I wonder how they're going to think about me. No, No is no.
Yeah.
And they have to deal with the problem. They have to deal with the no, not me. I'm not going to feel guilty about doing something that is to my betterment.
Oh, I love this. You are pouring into me right now. Let me tell
Good.
you.